Good Monday morning, everybody. Chris here with High Seas Cruising, and welcome to today's video. You know, guests on board Royal Caribbean's Radiance of the Seas, they have had a roller coaster of a weekend when it comes to their Alaska cruise. Now, experienced cruisers understand things happen. Cruise ships are mechanical objects. They break down. These things are out sailing 365 days a year. Stuff's gonna break. Stuff is gonna need repair. Stuff is gonna need maintenance. And experienced cruisers understand that. But when you look at it from the passenger point of view, especially when you have booked your Alaska cruise, which for some people is a once-in-a-lifetime bucket cruise item. The events of this past weekend when it comes to Radiance of the Seas, I mean, it can really just hurt your heart a little bit. Now, the problems for Radiance of the Seas began on a repositioning cruise. She was going from Los Angeles, California, up to Vancouver, Canada. She had 2 port stops along the way. She was going to stop in Astoria, Oregon, and in Victoria, British Columbia. However, she developed a propulsion problem. One of her azipods stopped working correctly. This affected the ship's speed and resulted in her having to miss both of her port stops and arrive in Vancouver a day early. Now, when the story first came out, Royal Caribbean said, "We will have this fixed. By the time we get to Vancouver, we're going to arrive a day early. That will give us time to get everything done, everything fixed, and it will not affect the upcoming Alaska cruise." Radiance of the Seas will arrive in Vancouver on the 25th, and those scheduled to embark on the 26th, the ship will be ready to go and be able to take you on your Alaska cruise. Now, from the passenger point of view, you're either on your way to Vancouver, fixing to head to Vancouver, you're hearing the news about your cruise ship developing a propulsion problem. Immediately, you're like, oh no. What is going to happen next? Is this going to affect my upcoming sailing? Well, Royal Caribbean at the time, it says no, it's not. However, that quickly changed. Radiance of the Seas gets to Vancouver. The repairs are not completed. Royal Caribbean now needs additional time to complete the repairs. So instead of being able to sail on that Friday on the 26th, they now have to push it back and sail on Sunday, the 28th. And due to having to delay 2 days, we're going to have to skip our port stop in Juneau, Alaska. Now, passengers were still allowed to board the ship on Friday, the 26th, but the port there in Vancouver, well, they were going to close that same day at 5 o'clock. And once the port is closed, the passengers would be forced to remain on board the ship for those 2 days. So you could not get back off the ship. You could not explore around. You were going to be on board the ship there at the dock for 2 days until the ship departs on Sunday. Now, Royal Caribbean did compensate the guests. They said you will receive a 2-day refund that we are stuck in port in the form of an onboard credit. You will get a future cruise credit of 2 days to use on your next Royal Caribbean sailing. Any shore excursions you had for Juneau, Alaska, booked through the cruise lines, you would also get those in onboard credit. And all drinks on board the ship would be complimentary for those 2 days. If you had the drink package, you would get refunded 2 days. But essentially, open bar on board the ship. Now, that's great of Royal Caribbean to refund the 2 days, to refund any shore excursions, to refund drink packages for the first 2 days. But why only in onboard credit? Why is that not a refund? That would be my question to that. That money probably should have gone back to the passengers simply because, it's not their fault that you're having the technical issue. But the problem for these passengers, well, it's not over yet, because now we're back to the passenger's point of view. You're already concerned because your ship developed propulsion problems on the way to Vancouver. Now you've arrived in Vancouver, you're ready to embark on board your cruise ship, because remember, most people arrive a day or 2 early to board the ship to be told, well, we have not yet fixed the problem. We are going to remain here in port for 2 days. You will be allowed to board the ship. You will not be allowed to get back off the ship. You're going to be missing a port stop, but you're going to get some free drinks, which for some folks is a good thing, but not everybody drinks. The ship, of course, is in port, which means the casino's closed, the shops are closed, but an experienced cruiser is probably thinking, well, at least I'm still going to get some of my Alaska cruise, right? So you decide to make the best of it. You get into your cabin, you unpack your luggage, you're excited, you're at least still going to see Alaska because now you're on board the ship. And then the next set of bad news comes because now the repairs are not going to be completed in the 2 days that they thought. And instead, your cruise is now been canceled. Everybody's already gone to Vancouver. They've already boarded the ship. They are already in their cabins. They are unpacking their stuff for their week-long Alaska cruise. And before the ship even leaves the dock, the cruise is now canceled and people are going to have to disembark the ship and head back home, never taking their Alaska cruise. Now, guests will receive a 100% refund of their cruise fare. They will also receive 100% future cruise credit for their next Royal Caribbean cruise. Complimentary Wi-Fi was provided to everybody to assist in making travel plans. They continued with the complimentary drinks, and reimbursement is available for airline change fees and additional hotel costs. Now, no word on the next sailing, which is scheduled to depart on May the 3rd. But if you are scheduled on the May the 3rd sailing of Radiance of the Seas, keep an eye out on your email. Because at this time, Royal Caribbean says they anticipate that sailing will happen. The repairs will be made. We will be ready to go. But this is not the first time Radiance of the Seas has had propulsion problems. This is not the first time she's had to cancel cruises to have her engines repaired. And after what the current passengers have just gone through, definitely be paying attention. Anticipate that there is a possibility it could affect your cruise as well. And like I said at the beginning, we all know mechanical issues happen. Getting these ships repaired can sometimes take time. It's not instantaneous. They may have to bring in parts. They may have to bring in specialists. Sometimes the ship has to be taken out of service and taken into dry dock to have these Azipod engines repaired. Still kind of tugs on your heartstrings a little bit when you think about the cruisers themselves who went all the way to Vancouver. And for some folks, that can be a long trip. To get all the way to Canada, to see your cruise ship, to board your cruise ship, to get settled in, excited for your Alaska cruise, only to be told, sorry, you're going to have to get off because it's just not going to happen. And admittedly, while I understand what has happened, I understand why the cruise line has made the choices and the decisions they have. As a cruiser, honestly, I think at that particular moment when they said we have to disembark the ship, it is not going to happen. Truthfully, at least in the moment, I think I'd be a little pissed off. And that's going to be our video for today. If you enjoyed it, do me a favor and hit that like button. If you haven't done so yet, do me a favor and hit subscribe. It is free to do so. Helps our channel grow. Let you know anytime we put out a new video. Hope everyone out there is having a really great day. And like always, we will see you out on the high seas.